Most AI tools being sold to businesses right now cannot do what the companies claim, not struggle to do it, cannot. And two Princeton professors spent years collecting the proof. Once you see it, you'll never look at an AI product demo the same way again. In the next 8 minutes, you'll learn why AI predictions are basically astrology with better marketing, how companies use a single trick to make broken AI look like it works, and the one question Narayanan and Kapoor say you should ask before trusting any AI claim. Almost nobody asks it, but it instantly separates real AI from snake oil. Let's get into it. Chapter 1. The 2A is nobody told you about. Approximately 90 seconds. The first thing that surprised me was that there isn't one type of AI. There are two, and they're completely different things being sold under the same name. The first type is what the authors call perceptive AI. This is AI that recognizes patterns in data it has already seen. Image recognition, spam filters, voice assistants, ChatGPT. This stuff genuinely works. It is real, it is useful, and the progress over the last decade has been remarkable. The second type is predictive AI. This is AI that claims to predict future human behavior, who will commit a crime, who will default on a loan, which employee will quit, which student will fail. This is the AI being sold to hospitals, courts, schools, and HR departments right now. And according to Narayanan and Kapoor, this second type is almost entirely fraudulent, not exaggerated, not oversold, fraudulent. Here's the concrete example they use. A company called HireVue was selling video interview software to major corporations, claiming its AI could predict job performance by analyzing facial expressions and word choice. Multiple independent audits found it performed no better than random chance. Companies were literally making hiring decisions based on a coin flip and paying a premium for the privilege. But here's where it gets interesting, because the way these companies get away with it reveals something about AI hype that goes way deeper than one bad product. Chapter 2. The magic trick. So the second big idea is what the authors call the overfitting illusion. And once you see it, you'll spot it everywhere. Here's how it works. You take a data set, say 10,000 past loan applicants. You already know who paid back their loan and who didn't. You train an AI on that historical data, and surprise, it predicts the outcome with 90% accuracy. You show that number to a bank. The bank buys the product. The bank starts using it on new applicants, performance creators. Why? Because the AI didn't learn why people default on loans. It learned the specific quirks of that one data set. It memorized the past instead of understanding it. The analogy that stuck with me, it's like hiring a student who aced the practice exam because they'd already seen the answers, then discovering on the real test they understood nothing. The authors point out that this isn't a bug in how some companies use AI. It is the entire business model for a category of AI vendors. They test on data they trained on, report the impressive number, and move on before the real-world results catch up. And this sets up what I think is the most practical takeaway in the whole book, because there is one question that exposes this trick every single time. Chapter 3, the question that breaks the demo. This is what the whole book is really about. Not just identifying bad AI, but giving you a tool to defend yourself against it. The question is, compared to what? That's it. 3 words. But almost nobody asks it. Here's why it's so powerful. When a company says their AI predicts recidivism, reoffending after release from prison, with 70% accuracy, that sounds impressive. But compared to what? It turns out a simple 2-question survey given to the prisoner outperforms most of these AI systems. And just knowing someone's age and prior convictions does too. The AI isn't better. It's just more expensive, more opaque, and the authors show this clearly, more racially biased, because it's been trained on a criminal justice system that was already biased. There's a striking data point in the book, a study-tested compass, one of the most widely used criminal risk assessment AIs in the United States, against random people with no criminal justice expertise, who were simply shown a defendant's profile. The random people were just as accurate as the algorithm. Courts are using this software to inform sentencing decisions. Right now, connect that back to your own life. Think about the last time someone showed you an impressive AI statistic. Did you ask what the baseline was? Did you ask what the alternative was? Did you ask how it performed on new data versus the training data? Most people don't, and that's exactly what the vendors are counting on. Now, before I give you the last piece, I want to show you how these three ideas actually lock together, because the authors make a point in the final chapters that most summaries completely skip. Chapter 4, the part nobody talks about. Here's the nuance that separates this book from the usual AI criticism. Narayanan and Kapoor are not anti-AI. They're not saying the technology is useless or that we should slow it down. What they're saying is more uncomfortable than that. They're saying we, the public, the press, the buyers, are making it worse. Every time a business buys an unvalidated AI hiring tool without demanding independent evidence, they fund the next one. Every time a journalist writes AI can now predict X based on a press release, they legitimize the claim. Every time a regulator waits for proof of harm before acting, a generation of decisions has already been made by the algorithm. The book's actual argument is that AI snake oil survives, not because the sellers are uniquely evil, though some are, but because the incentive structure rewards it. The vendor gets paid up front. The harm shows up years later in someone else's life, and by then, no one traces it back. This is the part that stuck with me longest. It reframes the whole problem. It's not really a technology problem, it's an accountability problem. Which brings me to the one thing the authors say you can actually do this week. Here's what this book actually comes down to. AI is a tool, and like any tool, the question isn't whether it works in a lab, it's whether it works better than what you were already doing in the real world on people it hasn't seen before. If you take nothing else away, take that one question, compared to what, and use it every single time someone shows you an AI product, an AI study, or an AI headline. Most people will hear about this book and keep nodding along at the next AI demo. You now have no excuse. If you want to go deeper on how AI companies manipulate the public narrative, I'm covering the coming wave next, and the author actually helped build the technology he's now warning us about. That one is worth your time.